Gert, we are here in Aalbeek, in Aquafin's plant, but what does Aquafin do?
Well, Aquafin was established in 1990, and our core business is to expand and operate the wastewater treatment infrastructure in Flanders. We collect households' wastewater from the municipal sewers into collector sewers, and that is then transported to the wastewater treatment plants where it's treated according to the European standards.
Okay. What are the challenges your company is facing?
Well, Aquafin needs to evolve constantly, not in the least in terms of technical solutions. For example, we are keenly aware that energy costs are on the rise and we need to keep them down.
Are costs your main concerns?
No, as you know, we are bound by the law of public procurement. That means that we need to look for the cheapest solution. But next to this, we have established our own environmental benchmark. Look at this particular site in Harelbeke here. Here we looked for the best overall solution. That means that we're not only looking for the cheapest solution, but also the most sustainable one.
Well, I'm sure it's not as simple as it sounds.
No, that's true. Aquafin didn't charge the easiest path for ourselves. Aquafin's engineers compiled all the necessary data in order to get an objective selection procedure. And starting from that, we hired an independent consultant that brought the pieces of the puzzle together and found the best solution.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello, I'm Romain.
I'm René.
Nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
What exactly do you do, René?
Well, I'm a project and asset manager hired by Aquafin, which basically means that I'm an independent consultant and I'm trying to find innovative ways to realize my projects and reduce energy consumption in water treatment facilities.
Reduce energy consumption. Is there any particular area where you found that gains could be made?
Well, sure. Actually, it was clear from day one that the biggest part of the energy consumption were the blowers, in fact, of the water treatment facilities.
Very interesting. Would you mind walking me through the whole process that you went to?
Sure, not at all.
Why did you want us to meet here, by the way?
Well, better out in nature than in some boring meeting room, right? And besides, it gives me a chance to walk my dog.
So, you're an expert on blowers then?
No, you can never be an expert in this field. It's too diverse. The technology is constantly evolving with all the different norms and such. It was especially difficult because there's no consistency amongst the blower manufacturers. All the information that you receive is not the same. You're comparing apples to pears. Take the speed of the boat, for example. It's easy when you're comparing the speed of two boats against each other, even if they're not racing against each other, because they're using the same reference point, which is in this case knots. It's not so easy for blowers, however. Blowers use different norms. They can use shaft power or inlet flow, outlet flow. Those are all different.
Okay, so how did you manage to take that into consideration?
Well, I try to make my model as realistic as possible. It's a physical model. I'm forcing all the suppliers to give all the information at a certain humidity, a certain degrees Celsius. It's very important that the units are the same when you start comparing.
What was the ultimate goal of the model?
The ultimate goal of the model was to actually know what Aquafin was getting in terms of flow and energy consumption.
Water looks always for the lowest point and customer always looks for the lowest price, right?
Correct, but the lowest price isn't necessarily only about capital investment. And that's where my expertise comes in.
But what else is important?
Well, total cost of ownership consists out of three things. You have capital investment, your operating cost, and your maintenance cost.
Oh. Okay, so the purchase price of the blower is not the main deciding factor.
No, not at all. If you consider a lifespan of 10 years of the machine, capital investment cost only represents 20% of the total cost of ownership. The bulk of it, 70%, is energy consumption.
Interesting. So looking for the most efficient solution is also looking for the most environmentally sustainable solution.
Yeah, correct. In this case, economy, ecology, they go hand in hand. The cheapest solution is the greenest one.
Very interesting. Do you want to continue our conversation around the drink?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you.
Good service is important in bars, but I guess it's also important in evaluating blower manufacturers.
Yeah, it's true. It's one of the main factors that we include in our total cost of ownership approach.
How did you manage to include that in your methodology?
We considered the cost of the maintenance, and it's obvious that if you have a lot of technicians, then your cost will drop down.
The fact that Atlas Copco has quite some technicians around that particular site played a role in the calculation.
Well, sure, because proximity, availability of your technicians eventually has impact on the cost.
Oh yeah, okay. So what did you decide at the end?
Well, it's not me who decides, it's the model that decides.
Sorry, so at the end, what did the model decide?
Well, the model decided that for that particular lineup in Harelbeke, it were the Atlas Copco blowers who came out best in the TCO approach.
What happened after you got the feedback from your consultant?
Well, we trusted their recommendation and we ordered the installation with Atlas Copco. The installation was installed by them as a turnkey solution.
Everything went okay?
No, in the beginning there were some issues with the communication with the blowers, but Atlas Copco immediately came by to resolve this issue.
I get the impression that Aquafin is very interested in the big picture, in playing the long game.
Yes, we want to be an environmentally responsible company, and we are looking for sustainable solutions that guarantee our competitiveness and the global environment in the long run.
And how does the company do that?
We invest heavily in what we call life cycle management. We employ several asset engineers whose task it is to make sure that new installations and machines are chosen wisely.
So you focus on the total cost of ownership.
TCO indeed is crucial to us, but we're not only looking at the financial aspect, but also to the cost to the environment. And we want to keep both to a minimum.
That sounds noble, but definitely not the easiest choice.
We're committed to an objective data-driven analysis as the one we used here in Harelbeke. And we will be using this approach in future projects as well. In that way we can decide what the best solution is for both Aquafin and the environment.
I got the impression that it's your job to be skeptic. Did you do extra checks?
Yeah, we did. We did a factory acceptance test at Atlas Copco's testing facility.
And how did that go?
Great. We took our own measurement devices and we made sure that everything was within the 2% tolerance that we set up.
Why did you bring your own measurement devices?
Well, I value my independence, and so does Aquafin. It's my job to be vigilant. But in all fairness, you guys made sure that we had all the information that we needed to perform all the checks.
Well, in any case, you know we're always around. And I have the impression that we're not the only one.
Are you talking about my dog? I have a funny story about that. One time when we woke up, she was sitting